Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series, and we are January 19th, 1985. Can't believe we're in 85 already, but that's where we are. Interesting matches here, as there's some first run matches, some new talents, and some scheduled developments, or interesting things. Anyway, we open with Kelly Koniski versus Buck Zumwalt. Koniski has been here for quite a bit. Zumwalt, a former tag team champion with Iceman King Parsons, and certainly a guy who really has indentured himself to the fans here in the world class area. Takes some time off, but always returns, and the fans are usually glad to see him return. Anyway, so Koniski, a guy who really hasn't found his stride, found a few different looks, been in a few tag matches, but usually a enhancement talent. But he does pretty okay with Zumwalt here. Zumwalt goes to work on the leg early, tries to get the figure four, doesn't get all he wants out of it. Monkey flip by Koniski. Koniski a little more aggressive than normal in this particular matchup. Maybe it's just the time in, but anyway, arm locks and arm bars by Zumwalt. Zumwalt really can get, as much as I hate to admit it because I don't like the guy as a person, but can get a lot out of a little, and that is a skill that anyone can learn, can grow to learn. So the shots by Zumwalt are pretty consistent. They're also very, very basic. He stays on the arm for 2 or 3 minutes in the match. And then we see clotheslines and almost like a falling tree clothesline by Koniski. Koniski tries to get a couple of kicks there and gets things going on. Irish whip and a big shot by Zumwalt, and you kind of go through it. And Koniski does manage to turn the match around a bit. Actually gets a victory here, which is very non-traditional for him. Zumwalt brings the boombox into the ring, tries to nail Koniski with the boombox at a point. That obviously does not go according to plan. The referee has some issues with that, obviously, but Koniski sends him off the ropes and a shoulder tackle rather quickly. But a backbreaker is all that's needed, and Koniski picks up, I don't know if it's his first victory, but if it's not, it's pretty darn close. We move to the second match on the card, Terry Daniels. Terry Daniels has been in the Cobra Corps. I actually met Terry when I broke in around I broke in 97. I think I met Terry first in 1998. But Terry had been around just about everywhere, Mid-Atlantic for a while, WWF doing enhancement stuff for a while, here in World Class for a little bit. But he's taken on Rip Oliver. Oliver, a mainstay in the Pacific Northwest, hasn't really found his groove here in Texas as of yet. Daniels has a really good run. Hip tosses, drop kicks, and the like. Really good babyface shine from Daniels, who is unestablished or underestablished here. Doesn't need to be established as it's his television debut, but obviously making him look like he is somebody by bumping around for him, which is always a good sign when a heel's willing to do that. Outside in suplex by Oliver, who gets things going back in his general direction. And then we see a series of shots by Daniels. Daniels misses a drop kick as Oliver sidesteps him. And then we move into Oliver going to the top rope, trying to get an advantage. Hits a clubbing blow to the top of the head. Almost gets done with it, but not quite yet. Some shots there, and once again, big big shoulder breaker attempted and succeeded by Oliver. That's how he's gaining his victories these days, and he does here. Then we move into the next segment, which is a sit-down interview. Billy Haynes, who says his father's in a nursing home, he wants to take his father's name back, removing Billy Jack. He's there with Sunshine. Sunshine endorsing him as a guy who's kind of the future of the area. Endorsing him as a big deal. And Haynes says he wants to honor his father and all of that. We then go to the television debut, at least to my knowledge, of Shawn Michaels, called Shawn Michaels, as in Mickey Mouse, by the ring announcer here, against Billy Jack Haynes. Michaels obviously doing the honors for Haynes here. And they spell his name differently. Of course, we all know it's SHWAN, SHWAN. Not SEAN, but he is SEAN here. Odd little trivia note. The biggest thing Michaels does in the match is a backflip off the top rope and catches himself in the full Nelson of Haynes. Haynes obviously gets the victory, as is to be expected in this type of encounter. But suffice to say, who would have known? Who would have known that Shawn Michaels would go on to be probably one of the the best wrestler of the 90s? Maybe one of the top 10 of all time, top 20 of all time. Who knows? That's a debate for later. We do see a return of the World Heavyweight Championship here. Ric Flair, this time with a different opponent than normal, Terry Bam Bam Gordy. Billy Jack Haynes, or Billy Haynes, makes his way out before the match begins, says he wants to face the winner, and basically Flair taunts Sunshine, says he has always wanted her, has been pursuing her for a couple of years, says one kiss would change everything, and he does get the chance to kiss her. She slaps the taste out of his mouth, and Haynes steps in to prevent or protect, I guess would be even better, Sunshine. But needless to say, the Terry Gordy and Flair match is off to a rip-roaring start. Flair is tossed across the ring with a rather unceremonious military press slam, and Gordy is dominant during the first early minutes of this one. They're given about 12 minutes or so to ply their craft, and Flair is in a defensive posture for a good bit of it. Obviously, Gordy, by this point, has done just about all there is to do in Texas over the past couple of years, and getting the shot with Flair makes logical sense. Flair goes upside down in the corner, doing the upside down back in Ray Stevens style spot. Flair spends a good bit of the match begging off, and Flair's only real advantages is when he cheats first, sends Gordy into the buckle, goes after him and all of that. And we kind of see things breaking down, kick to the midsection, and Flair gets more than he bargained for. Obviously a different style than most Flair matches, as Flair usually has guys in there that can go with him. Not that Gordy can't, but Gordy more power wrestler, and by this point we've seen Flair more with guys that can just run with him. Hard clothesline by Gordy. There's actually some points with the running knee drop by Gordy, or a fist drop that Flair moves out of the way of, where you actually almost think Gordy could be your next NWA champion. There is a moment where that thought does cross the mind of a person watching, and I could see where that would have been a thing at a time. They fight for several minutes over a backslide, and then the shot to the midsection, and Flair, with some chops on the ropes. Gordy again always looking like he has an advantage. Flair gets upset, drops the knee across. Gordy doesn't get the victory, and he's very frustrated. Flair again with the chops, but can't chop Gordy down like he would other people. Figure four by Flair. Flair has the figure four on for a good few minutes, but Gordy is able to get himself free. Obviously, Flair, shows the pain of the figure four. Low blow by Flair attempted, but again with the press slam later in the match, showing both the power and resiliency of Gordy. Gordy goes right into Flair's face for, a bit more brawling, a bit more Smash Mouth style, if you will. Definitely a match to go out of your way to see if you haven't seen this match before. Flair sends Gordy into the buckle, and both men kick back off the buckle. Flair gets his foot under or across the bottom rope, and the referee declares that in fact Flair's foot breaking the bottom rope is reason for Flair to retain the championship. That is how we close this edition of World Class Championship Wrestling here on the 19th of January. And until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.